What's up, guys? This is Dewey, and this is my Module 5 Barriers to the Web 2.0. Alright, summary. From watching the video, the lady talked about how primary schools are more innovative than secondary schools, and also secondary schools lack innovation due to less time with each student. And I agree. I think I've seen that in our own district. The little kids in their classes just seem to have more innovation. And from the video, it mentioned that this is due to the fact that the teacher only has those set of kids for the whole year, whereas secondary teachers have, a lot more students and a short amount of time with those students. So those elementary teachers are with those students all day, every day, whereas, 53-minute classes for me in middle school and then high school as well. And then sometimes some high schools even have block scheduling where they're only meeting with those kids for certain amounts of time. Um, so yeah, definitely just the lack of time with each student um, prohibits some of that innovation because innovation you need to build that relationship up. So the primary teachers can build a more um, long-lasting relationship in a quicker amount of time because they're with those students so often. Whereas, secondary teachers, it'll take a little bit longer to build that positive relationship potentially. So I think there's some ways you can definitely um, increase, touching each student, communicating with each student. Um, you don't have to teach to the whole class. You can teach to smaller groups. So for me, I try to use blended learning techniques where we have station-based instruction in my junior high classroom. So that way I can effectively communicate with each student and see where they're at in a small group setting, So certain days I'll be with one group and then the next day I'll be with a different group. So that way I can, see where each one's at more effectively. And then from the articles we read, I mean, there's so many resources out there that teachers have access to now, whether it's free or paid. There's just so much stuff out there. So, like for me, I've found free textbooks even online where you can download the PDF to your laptop and then distribute that by Google Classroom, and then the students have access to it too. So um, I just I think there's many opportunities for teachers today that we all need to be taking advantage of that. And then of course, depending on your district and the budget, you can also have many different paid subscriptions to resources that teachers can use. So for me, I'm experimenting with Nearpod this semester. I think it's a great tool. It gives me a lot of engaging activities I can do with my students. So I try to use it and experiment with it as much as I can. Schools also need technology and training to prepare students for the 21st century and the skills they will need in the workforce. Um, and I'll talk about more of those skills on a later slide. And of course, wherever you're going, you need a vision to, push you in the right direction so you know what you're working for. And I think all school districts need a clear set vision with innovation. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a district where we are pushing innovation. It's a clear directive for our teachers to incorporate different technologies. And I think Kansas is pushing our districts in the right direction. All right, so the digital divide. Can it be resolved? Why or why not? Um, so the digital divide is a very interesting topic. Obviously, there's students who have access to all the technology they would need, whereas some students and school districts have more students in the poverty level where technology is not really a focal point. It's just parents are working multiple jobs and technology is kind of on the back burner and access to that. But I feel that the digital divide can be bridged if not resolved one day in the future. Schools can provide technology and resources for each student. Our school is one-to-one. Every student in our district has a Chromebook or an iPad that they use to enhance their learning. Schools with limited resources could allow even the students to bring in their own personal devices. Almost every kid, it seems, has a smartphone which has some sort of access to the internet, or it could connect to Wi-Fi for free. So you know, depending on the situation for the schools, some schools might be um, struggling with budgets, and they could just allow the students to use their own sort of personal devices to connect and to use the technology and the tools that we are trying to push. And then also just in the future for um, bridging that digital divide. There's cheaper hardware and modems and such that are going to appeal to more of the families that are in the poverty level, just to try to keep everybody connected to our to the whole World Wide Web. This will come from leadership, from government personnel. So I think if we want to solve the digital divide, we definitely can, but it's going to take time, and it's not going to be easy for sure. But I think within our school districts, it can definitely be resolved. Next, I want to talk about some reasons that teachers and school personnel have not integrated technology into the classroom. And to me, these are excuses: time, training, tech support, and administrative support. Um, Obviously, time. As a teacher, I know we are busy. There's a lot of kids to get to, and then also life happens. But I think time is something we can always make time to better ourselves and um, push innovation in the classroom. We have uh, teacher prep days where obviously we could hit some of that stuff. Also, we have the whole summer to um, work and better ourselves professionally and to learn different ways to use technology. And that kind of goes into the next point of training. Not all schools are going to have the most effective training as far as use for technology. But again, we have so many resources available to us individually as teachers. We can go on the web, look up different webinars, and that will show us how to use the technology. There's also YouTube. I mean, that's a great tool to see someone actively doing whatever it is we're trying to learn how to do. And then also there's many different teachers out there who would be more than willing to help out. And for me, there's a teacher in our district that I constantly go to and ask, and we share our thoughts with each other, and it just seems to be a great way to learn different things. So constantly collaborating with other professionals in our field. Tech support and administrative support. Obviously, this could be more of a challenge depending on the school district you're in. I'm lucky enough to be in a school district where our tech department is awesome. They respond very quickly to any issues we have. They come straight to our room and they'll work out the problem with us. So that to me isn't a issue within my school district. I understand that it could be more of a difficulty depending on what school district you're in. Um, and then administrative support. Again, my district is pushing for innovation from the superintendent on down. The whole district is behind this initiative, and we have a clear vision where, we're trying to better our students so they're ready to go when they get into that workforce and using technology. So again, though, we're going through our superintendent's actually resigning this year, so we'll be getting a new one. So it'll be interesting to see where our school goes from here. All right, so what skills do our students need for the 21st century prior to graduating? There's a lot of skills that we all need. So here's a list that I found and thought would be good. So students need practice and access to real-world applications to prepare them for the new and emerging workforce. Obviously, technology is everywhere. It's going to continue to be everywhere. So we need to be able to use that technology to the way it was intended to be used in its most effective way. But as far as skills, critical thinking, creativity, communication and collaboration, informed and information and technology literacy, flexibility, leadership, social skills, coachability, and accountability. Obviously, we all need to be able to critically think and work through problems. I think today, and with technology moving on to creativity, um, just having the students create their own works and working through and being creative, I think that's one of the biggest things that we can teach our kids to do, and technology is a great tool for that. So we need to allow our students to be creative in class and let them work through the problems and come up with their own conclusions. Um, any job that a kid gets, um, odds are they're going to have to communicate and work with other people. So learning how to build relationships and effectively communicating and working through problems with a group of people is going to be vital to success. I can't think of any jobs where you wouldn't need to communicate with some other person. So just giving them opportunities to do that in school is going to be a huge benefit for them later on. Um, Obviously, just because they have a piece of technology doesn't mean they're going to know how to use that technology the right way. So we need to teach them how to be learners with technology and learn how to work through those technological problems, and just kind of train them up how to use that technology. And obviously, with technology, things are going to go, not as we intended them to go. So you need to be flexible and understand that, you know, life happens, and they need to be able to work through those problems and learn how to face adversity when it comes. Um, and obviously, I think we need to teach our students how to be leaders. Our school is actually focusing on this semester. We're just starting the 7 habits training, and we're trying to implement that school wide. So that's been a learning process for us, but I think it'll be extremely beneficial for our students once they, master those skills, those leadership qualities and skills. That'll just serve them well into the future. Social skills again, working with other people, and me, I'm a sports person, and I think we need to teach every kid to be coachable, to learn from others, to take criticism and use it positively to better themselves, and then holding kids accountable. As teachers, we need to be held accountable for our instruction, and I think that's another important thing that everybody can learn how to be accountable. Onto my personal use of the internet. I use the internet for a lot of things, as I'm sure most of us do. Networking and, just staying in touch with everybody. Obviously, Facebook's a great way to stay in touch with people you don't normally see, and just kind of see what's going on in their life. I also use it just to learn new pieces of information. I'm a history major, and we always had to research in college, and just I love researching and trying to find new information and just continue learning. And then, of course, for entertainment and sports, as you see, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I constantly am looking online or looking at various news outlets from England just to stay in touch with one of my favorite teams. All right, what technology training do you still need to effectively integrate technology in your current position? Practice. That's the biggest thing. Don't be afraid to try new things. Continually work through the issues. That's one of my things I strive to do is just not be afraid to try new things. And obviously, it's not going to go perfect every time, but just keep working through it. And then collaborating with other teachers again. Um, I think that's very beneficial. Find the best teacher in your building and learn as much as you can from them. Um, okay. Is your school district equipped with 21st century technology? Yes, we are. One-to-one student Chromebooks 4th through 12th grade. So our school's made up of 3 buildings. We have a early education building, then kind of the middle attendance center, 4th through 8th graders, and then obviously the high school. So Chromebooks and iPads are big in our district. We have high-speed Wi-Fi that has not given me many issues. There's been a couple days where the Wi-Fi was down for a short amount of time, but our tech department's very good at getting it up and running. Also, we have projectors in every classroom, and then our school gave us, as teachers, laptops and iPads for our use. So, what are the advantages of innovative practices within schools? Individualized programs are extremely beneficial. When I first started teaching in this district, I was a special education teacher, and um, I mean, technology is so great because you can do different programs that tell you exactly where the student's at. So I was working with 5th graders, and some of my kids were, when I was teaching SPED, were at like a 2nd grade reading level, so just a little bit behind, and we could identify that extremely easily with various individualized educational programs. And I think these are individualized programs are great for even our general ed students. because not every kid's going to be. We're in seventh grade. Not every kid's at a seventh grade level.